Hi, my name is Landon Hobbs. I have 2.5 years of acute care nutrition counseling experience, and the patients that were always nearest and dearest to my heart were my renal diabetic patients. So I thought I would make a video for those people who feel that they are following a diabetic meal plan well, they know they are controlling their blood sugars look good, but they feel like they're eating the same 4 or 5 meals all the time, and they feel like they desperately need some variety in the foods they have. So, welcome to 6 pitfalls to avoid to help give your diabetic diet some variety. All right, first point. So, you actually do not have to cut out all of the carbohydrates in the diet plan. Yes, I know, shocking. This is not really what you might imagine with a diabetic meal plan, but yes, you can have that slice of toast or two with breakfast in the morning, and yes, you can have that small side of diced potatoes. Most patients, if they feel that, you know, if less is good, then even less is better, right? Not always the case with carbohydrates. Again, most diabetic meal plans will have roughly about 60 grams of carbohydrate per meal. So if you're only getting 15 grams of carbohydrate per meal, then you're really actually limiting the amount of food you're taking in at that point, which is boring. So if you have, again, up to 60 and 60 grams of carbohydrate, keeps your blood sugars at a safe level on a per meal basis, then why not have those in the meal plan? If you're ever feeling tired or sluggish, this could actually be a sign that you're not getting enough carbohydrates in the diet plan as well. So chances are it might be from too little carbohydrate. You're not getting enough calories in the body to actually run it efficiently. Think of carbohydrates as the fuel for the body. So, again, limiting the carbohydrates to such a small extent, one, it's boring, and two, you might actually be doing yourself a disservice by making yourself tired and sluggish all the time. All right, point number 2, quit using the same protein for each meal. I know it's always a recommendation that meal prep starts with a protein base, and yes, we should always be doing this with any diabetic meal plan. Protein definitely helps us stay full and keep our blood sugars in a safe level. But if you're basically eating chicken, 10 times a week, who wants to do that? That's always going to be boring. Try to branch out and use some other forms of protein. So if you still want poultry, sub in some chicken. Maybe go out on a limb and try some duck or maybe some goose. Who knows? But pork and beef have different flavor profiles depending on the type of cut of the meat that they have. So don't always go for ground beef. Again, that's boring. Get a tenderloin potentially. Get a ribeye potentially. They're going to have different tastes to allow you to again have different variety in the foods you're eating. So you're not going to go crazy and run up a wall. Fish, for example, salmon, tuna, tilapia, cod, bass. Uh, much like the proverbial relationship advice, there are plenty of other fish in the sea, so I would highly recommend you try all the fishes out there so that you're not redoing the same meal over and over and over again every week. Our third point is don't feel like branching out to try different protein items? Well, then just go ahead and make spices and seasonings your best friend. Ultimately, myself cooking spices, herbs, different flavorings in the kitchen, it is a quintessential kitchen prep recommendation. Not even for diabetics, just making food taste good. Most people, their flavor profile, it ends at salt and pepper. Definitely, we don't want to do this. Again, with diabetes, we will be consuming a higher amount of protein than usual. So let's say with the last point, you say, well, I don't want to go out and buy expensive cuts of meat. Would rather just buy, a couple pounds of chicken, then cook that a different way throughout the week. Awesome. Chicken breast that's been marinating in orange slices, rosemary, and garlic is going to taste fairly different from the grilled chicken breast that's been hit with a dry rub of like cayenne pepper, black pepper, and onion powder. Herbs and spices are going to be the best way in order to do that. We have now arrived to point number 4. So, know your non-starchy vegetables. Yes, it is that easy. So you know what to avoid when it comes to starchy veggies? Awesome. Good, you're doing a great job. That's 90% of the battle right there for controlling blood sugars. But as far as variety is concerned, most people tend to just have a side salad, maybe some broccoli, and then that's about it. Knowing the non-starchy veggies is the best way to increase variety in the diet plan because it is so essential with a diabetic meal plan. Tomatoes, onions, mushrooms, peppers, Basically, if it is not peas, corn, or potatoes, it is likely going to be appropriate for the diabetic meal plan. So always try those non-starchy veggies as much as you can. So our fifth point is don't be scared to keep those dairy items in the meal plan. I know people will say, oh, what about lactose? It is milk sugar. Sugar, you're telling me to eat sugar in my diet plan. Uh, Ultimately, calcium in dairy is extremely high. Yes, I wish everyone could get all the calcium they can from all the nice dark green leafy vegetables, which you should be eating. But ultimately, on a day-to-day basis, that usually isn't the case. So yes, milk, or even better, some potentially yogurt items, or even some Greek yogurt would actually imbue some extra protein in your meal and actually be less carbohydrates if you do choose to use, for example, like Greek yogurt is very low in carbohydrate over milk if you don't want to have the milk item. If you are lactose intolerant, there are lactose-free items. There's even lactose-free Greek yogurt available. So there's no excuse for getting that dairy in the meal plan. Osteoporosis as well is a large concern with older females especially who are diabetic because they may be avoiding some dairy items. But in doing this, they're actually decreasing the amount of calcium they're taking in, which sets them up for weak bones in the future. So always try to find a dairy item consistently that you're consuming so that you're getting an adequate amount of calcium on a daily basis. All right, and finally for our last point, here's the fun one. Yes, dessert is still on the menu. So a lot of our diabetic patients, they will typically say, oh, sugary foods, desserts, I can't have that anymore. Ah, man. Well, as someone who has a sweet tooth themselves, I would never recommend that you completely give up on foods that make you feel good. Again, we're all human. We all want to have foods or treats that are going to be enjoyable at times. So with diabetes, there are plenty of sugar-free items that we could always have. So go for a sugar-free product especially. Always look on the label, which you should be doing anyway. And try to have a sugar-free item, again, that is going to be low in carbohydrates. Try to find products that are sugar-free or are made with sugar alcohol. These ones will have less carbohydrates in them. Be warned, though, that some sugar alcohols, when consumed in large quantities, could potentially have some gastrointestinal side effects like diarrhea. So always read the label, which again you should be doing, and enjoy those desserts because I would never want to take that away from you. All right, that about wraps it up. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, diabetes.org is an excellent reference site for meals and meal prep, and you're always welcome to go find an outpatient dietitian or a certified diabetes educator to speak with in case you need to sit down with someone for a long period of time. Thank you very much.